Tonight on Joy News Prime, Ghana's confirmed COVID-19 case count now stands at 205 after one new case from the Upper East region was added in the last 24 hours. Also, President Akufo-Addo demands unity and solidarity from political parties as the country battles the coronavirus pandemic.
It doesn't have a political color. It doesn't know Democrats or Republicans or Tories or Labour or NDC or MPP. It's attacking human beings.
And what a time to find yourself on the wrong side of the law. A 34-year-old fake lawyer is going to jail for 2 years for impersonation.
The court convicted him and sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment.
In business,
government targets 18 billion cedis in second quarter borrowing through bonds and treasury bills.
Israel.
I'm Israeli anchoring from home. And remember, Joy News Prime is live on digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air.
And my name is Aisha Ibrahim, coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on digital address GA0020992539, on GoTV channel 144, on DSTV channel 421. Please stay with us.
Joy News Prime Headlines was brought to you by
Milo.
Many thanks for choosing us. In our very first story, Ghana's COVID-19 case count is now 205. This follows one additional COVID-19 case from the Upper East region. This particular case has no travel history or contact with any confirmed case in Ghana. As of 3rd April 2020, Ghana had recorded a total of 205 cases of COVID-19 with 5 deaths. Currently, the number of regions reporting cases are 6. The regions are as follows: the Greater Accra, Ashanti region, Northern, Upper West, Eastern and Upper East regions. And the Greater Accra region has the most cases. It has 183 cases, followed by the Northern region that has 10 cases. The Ashanti region has 9 cases. Upper West region has 1 case, and the Eastern region with 1 case, plus Upper East region with the latest case. With the Upper West Regional Minister and to tell us more about this case. Good evening to you, ma'am. How do you feel that a case has been recorded in your region, the Upper East region? Hello, good evening to you. If you can hear me, I'm asking.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, ma'am. If you can hear me. I can't hear anything. If you can hear me, I'm asking, how do you feel that one case has been reported in your region?
The line is very faint. Hello?
Well, we'll try and get her back on the line to tell us more. Remember, Upper East is the region that has recorded the latest case. We'll be getting her, the Upper East Regional Minister, on the line to tell us more and give us details of this one case recorded in that region. Now, a specialist doctor with the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, RIDGE, is under self-quarantine after returning into the country from South Africa prior to the partial lockdown. The doctor who left Ghana to attend a medical conference has tested positive for COVID-19. This came to the fore after he had undergone the 2 weeks mandatory self-quarantine. And we have the details for you on the screen. The COVID-19 team has since been taking care of him at the self-quarantine center, and he's currently doing well. Management of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, REACH, is in touch with him and will support him till he recovers. We have also put in place all other measures to ensure that all the necessary care he needs is provided. Now, management want to emphasize that the case was not locally transmitted, but rather imported from South Africa. Currently, no frontline staff has tested positive, as safety measures have been put in place to ensure that no staff get affected or infected. We therefore wish him well and advise staff and family to stay calm and support him. Hashtag spread calm, not fear. And this is a statement signed by management of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Our President Akufo-Addo has called for unity and solidarity from political parties as the country battles the coronavirus pandemic. It comes as Ghana's case count hits 205 infections and 5 deaths. At a meeting with representatives of the governing NPP and the opposition NDC, PPP, and DP, CPP, and PNC at the Jubilee House on Friday to discuss measures taken so far and ways to improve on them, the president said the seriousness of the issue at hand makes it imperative for the country to work together regardless of political affiliation.
Consultations across the nation could not be complete without also meeting and talking with the political leaders of our nation, especially at this critical moment when we are, like all the countries of the world, having to confront this new menace to the survival of our population and its health and welfare. And it is essential for us to have an opportunity to exchange information with each other, and more than anything else, to agree on the measures that we can take as political leaders to ensure the unity of our nation at this critical time, and to stress the need for solidarity amongst ourselves. Because the example of our own country, the example of countries around the world which we're all familiar with, the disease doesn't have a political color. It doesn't know Democrats or Republicans or Tories or Labour or NDC or MPP. It's attacking human beings. And I think that recognition is what should drive our collective response as a people to this pandemic.
National Chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, wants a decentralized approach to fighting the virus. He wants government to, as a matter of urgency, set up regional, metropolitan, municipal and district response teams across the country to deal with any possible outbreak beyond the lockdown areas.
Our country operates a decentralized system of administration. And for that matter, you have a three-tier system made up of the central government, the regional coordinating councils, and then the metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, under which we have the various sub-district structures. Because this pandemic is virtually coming to the doorsteps of our people, we believe that a decentralized approach should be urgently adopted. We need to activate all the structures that we have. We believe that the districts have structures. As far as 1994, when I was a district chief executive, we had a district disaster plans for metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. And I believe that this is the time to activate those plans and those systems, the DISEX, the MUSEX, the MetroSex, and the RECSEX, to work in coordination with the national security systems and national security architecture to address these issues. Your Excellency, a situation where people who are fleeing from Accra will be met at Ejiso by a municipal chief executive and be asked to come back, it's not a healthy situation. We believe that if we have structures and systems in place, the district response teams should have put in measures to curtail, contain the people. KRCC is there to support them in testing, provide them with shelter, so that their movement to and from Accra back would have been averted.
Mr. Ofoso-Ampofo also appealed to the president to consider granting amnesty to some radio stations shut down in the country by the National Communications Authority.
The role of the media is also very critical. I want to end by making a very passionate appeal to His Excellency the President that the role of the media is very critical. And in this country, we all know that we have, whether you like it or not, political device in this country. If you go to the US now, there are a lot of people who will tune in to CNN because they belong to a certain ideological persuasion. And you have a lot of people who will tune into Fox News because of the ideological persuasion. So there are people who are glued to certain media houses and will want to take public education from them. It is on this call that I'm making a passionate appeal to His Excellency the President and to commend you for the amnesty you granted prisoners recently. Your Excellency, I'm asking for another amnesty from you. A number of radio stations have been closed down, and in our effort to ensure that we reach out to the majority of our countrymen and women, I'm appealing to Your Excellency to grant amnesty and get these radio stations that have been closed down to use their systems, their frequencies, and activate their latent, frequencies and others which are not being used to reach out to the people and to reach out to them in various languages so that we'll be able to reach out to every nook and cranny of this country for all of us to fight and bring this pandemic to a halt.
Responding to the appeal, President Akufo-Addo asked owners of the affected media houses to follow due process to have their licenses restored.
I was a bit surprised about the amnesty for the radio stations. I think that the opportunities, the law is very clear as to how these radio stations, once they have been closed down or whatever it is, they were not closed down by me. That's the first thing. So it's difficult for me to be the one to unlock them. But the procedures are there. I'm surprised that a year or so later, those procedures are not being used to be able to get the radio stations back on track. I don't really think that there's any big secret about them. The law is very clear. You make the application back to the National Communications Authority and go through the various procedures. And you don't have to wait for a president for that to happen. But as I say, the ideas that have been expressed here are all very useful to us. We will take them very much on board and continue to work with them.
And just a way of a reminder, you may have heard that Ghana's confirmed COVID-19 cases now stand at 205. The breakdown shortly on your screen. The latest is the Upper East region that has recorded 1 case. And we'll be getting more on the regional minister shortly. But the breakdown in the Greater Accra region, we have 183, in the Ashanti region 9, Northern region 10, Upper West 1, Eastern region 1, and the latest Upper East region recording 1. Let's get onto the phone line because Upper East Regional Minister Tangoba Abayage is back on the line to speak to us. But before we get onto the phone line, let's get more on the routine surveillance which is being conducted by the Ghana Health Service. It says it has confirmed 116 cases from the routine surveillance. 3 of them have recovered and 18 of them have been discharged. And then we say 88 of those affected are responding to treatment, and we're told 2 of them are in critical condition. There are some who are also in mandatory quarantine, and we're getting some of the figures from those who are in mandatory quarantine. And we say 79 of those in mandatory quarantine have been confirmed, and they're part of the 205 number. None of them has recovered, and 31 out of them have been discharged. And we're told by the Information Minister that they're following up on them to ensure that they have totally recovered before they can add them to the recovered number. Let's now get on to the phone lines because Upper East Regional Minister Tangoba Abayage is there and who is ready to speak to us. Many thanks for your time. We are aware that the infected person is a pregnant woman. What other details do you have of this woman?
Oh, thank you very much and good evening. This afternoon I was briefed on... So what? Hello?
You're on the line and you're still on air.
I'm saying this afternoon, I was briefed by the regional director of Ghana Health Service that we have one confirmed case of COVID-19, a female, and I think from his briefing, a female who is pregnant. And the lady reported to the hospital on the 28th of March with calls and symptoms of COVID-19 and was admitted to the hospital under quarantine and her specimen taken for test. The lady reported to have traveled to South and back. And, so this morning the results came in positive. I think they sent her specimen with other specimen of suspected cases. Either those cases are those with travel history or other symptoms. But when the results came, hers was positive. So that's the confirmation I can give.
So can you confirm her condition as we speak? Is she responding to treatment? Is she in a critical condition? What is her condition?
From the report I was given, she's doing okay. According to the doctor, I think she left the hospital premise due to some circumstances. So this morning when the report came, they came and they went. So where she's staying is currently supposed to be under security surveillance. So, but when they went, I asked how her condition was, and he informed me that she's doing okay. She's not in any critical condition. She's doing okay.
We're grateful for your time, Upper East Regional Minister Tangoba Abayage, there explaining that the infected person in the Upper East region, which makes the number 205, is responding to treatment and is under surveillance at this moment. Over to you, Israel.
Now, the minority in Parliament has urged government to immediately resolve concerns of the medical staff at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital who are threatening to withdraw their services. Ranking member of the Health Committee, Kwabena Minta Akando, told the media in Parliament it is shocking that despite repeated assurances by government, frontline medical staff still lack basic tools like PPEs.
We were shocked to hear yesterday that some medical doctors at Korle Bu Teaching Hospital are threatening strike actions. I believe that at this point in time, in this crisis, the least that we want to hear as Ghanaians is to hear that any health professional is threatening a strike action. We have taken time to read through some of their concerns, and we think that they have legitimate concerns that we think government, as a matter of urgency, must respond to, because at this point in time, apart from God, they are our saviors. And so we must be able to protect them as much as possible, to have the confidence to protect the citizenry. So some of the issues they raised were about the inadequate PPEs in the system. And we think that they must be fully protected as health professionals before they will be able to save lives. And we are reliably informed that we have some PPEs in the system. So as a matter of urgency, we think that these PPEs must be distributed, especially when we have had instances where medical doctors and some health professionals are contracting the disease as a result of saving lives. A typical example is the Lekma situation and the Rage Hospital situation. So I think it is legitimate that they call on government to protect them adequately as they fight to protect the citizenry.
In a related development, the Ghana Health Service says procuring enough personal protective equipment for frontline health practitioners is proving difficult due to global demand. It has therefore advised heads of the various health facilities to manage the distribution of the equipment efficiently. At a news conference on Ghana's COVID-19 situation, Director General Dr. Patrick Abaji also weighed in on the debate over the use of nose masks, encouraging those who have access to them to use them. Security personnel enforcing the lockdown on Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi were also cautioned not to brutalize the public who are found to have defied the restrictions. There's more in the following report.
You will not go.
I'm going to take medicine with my wife.
That is not the issue. That's not the issue. Somebody was about going to the hospital with proved.
What's the ID card?
A year, just said.
Give birth at Atomic.
The security agencies have over the past 4 days been implementing the restrictions imposed by government, with some areas recording incidents. This takes the form of many not obeying the restrictions or allegations of abuse. Information Minister Kojo Opoinkroma addressed the issue.
The Ghana Police Service, leading the joint security operation, is under instructions that persons who do not comply with these restrictions don't have to be beaten or subjected to some inhumane.
Ghana's recorded cases currently stands at 204, with 5 deaths and 3 persons in critical condition. Director General of the Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abaji, gave this update.
People, there are 3 of them who are getting oxygen, and we are informed that they are getting better. A total of 38 has been discharged for home care, and we are following them on daily basis with home visits, and they are actively getting better. Rage Hospital has 4 cases. They are all there, been there between, they've had a case since between 13 and 19 days. We are waiting till the 21st day. As you are reached 21 days, and then you are retested, and if you are negative, then you are discharged.
He also revealed the service was expecting to take delivery of some more personal protective equipment.
PPEs remain a major challenge for all of us, and I think it's not just Ghana, but it's a global challenge. We continue to provide as many as can be pushed and put in there. This, and then more continues coming in. We have received a significant number of coveralls that is being distributed today, and some masks last night, which is being distributed. But these are definitely not going to be enough, and so we urge facility heads to ensure appropriate distribution of the masks. Generally, majority of our people will just need masks, nose masks, and gloves. And that's what is going for more than 95–98% of all health workers. We want to ensure that is available. We've started the process of having some local production of one, and what I'm wearing is a local production that is comfortable, it can be washed and re-ironed. I think this is something we want to promote. We want to encourage all people to wear masks if you can, especially those who have flu-like symptoms, to wear masks. But people should wear their own masks.
The pandemic outbreak, experts say, has the potential to affect mental health of persons resident in affected countries. The Ghana Psychological Association has been sharing some tips.
We can play indoor games with them. It's an opportunity for us to tell them and answer stories which we have lost. Education is not just about a teacher standing in front of you. These are all things we want to engage our children. Let's have time with them and work with them. As parents, we want to also make time to exercise. If you don't have a hobby, this is an opportunity for us to look for one and activate it. This 2 weeks partial lockdown is telling us how retirement will be like. We must find things to stay active. Take an online course. Social distancing does not mean emotionally we should be distant. We can connect with people by using electronic means. We know the telcos have supported Ghana, giving us options, promotions, and others. Let's leverage on this. We may do our own pedicure and manicure at home.
Remember, the hashtag remains stay at home. Wash your hands regularly and use your sanitizers as well.
Time now for business. Now, Sandra Apeno has the very latest from the business world. Hello, Sandra.
And thank God it's Friday. We're closing the business week.
It's Friday, but there's still COVID, so you can't step out, you know.
I know, but you know, something interesting is popping up where a lot of people are asking the electricity company or the PURC, I must say, to reduce tariff on electricity.
There's no better time than this to
because crude oil prices are going down.
Definitely. Yeah. So
anyway, we'll have that in business. Celebrating 25 years of joy. My name is Sandra S. and I'm here for business. Government is targeting some 18 billion Ghana cedis in the bond and treasury bills for the second quarter of this year. This was contained in the bond calendar issued by the Bank of Ghana. George Wafe has more in the following report.
The Finance Ministry through the Bank of Ghana is planning to issue almost 18 billion Ghana cedis, of which 13.6 billion Ghana cedis will be rollover maturity, while the remaining 4.2 billion Ghana cedis will be fresh issuance to meet government financing requirement for the second quarter of this year. From the calendar, government is planning to reopen an existing 20-year paper to raise some 287 million Ghana cedis on June 20. A 10-year paper that will also be seeking some 800 million Ghana cedis will be sold on June 20 this year, as well as another 7-year government paper that will be targeting some 800 million Ghana cedis. It's again targeting some 1 billion Ghana cedis for a 5-year paper on May 20. Based on this calendar, government should have raised some 36.9 billion Ghana cedis at the end of June this year. Now, out of this, 7.4 billion Ghana cedis can be classified as fresh cash, while the remaining can be captured as rolling over existing debts or papers that have matured. This could loosely mean that the debt stockers at the end of the first half of this year should have gone up by some 7.4 billion Ghana cedis from the current status of 218 billion Ghana cedis, holding all other factors constant.
Now, the Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketing Companies of Ghana is calling for immediate withdrawal of the new cylinder recovery margin on LPG. The downstream regulator, which is the NPA, on Wednesday, April 1, directed industry marketers to start charging 13.5 pesos on each kilogram of LPG from April 1. Responding to the development, the association, in a statement dated April 3, stated that we have been at the forefront of efforts appealing to government to remove all existing taxes and levies from LPG to make the product more affordable to the ordinary Ghanaian consumer. It's therefore ironic and indeed highly unprincipled for us to support the introduction of a new levy. Secondly, the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian whose source of income is threatened due to the lockdown of most businesses will be worsened if the levy is allowed to stay. We know the NPA needs money to effectively roll out the CRM policy, but we are resolute in our conviction that our regulator must find more innovative means to raise the needed revenue. Unfortunately, adding more levies to the already overtaxed LPG consumer it's not the way to go, in our humble opinion. The statement added that we have rather consistently suggested and insisted that the 5 Ghana pesos already being charged on LPG distribution compensation promotion margin on the price build-up should be used to fund the acquisition of new cylinders. This has been our principled position in all our deliberations with the regulator, which is the NPA. The association, which has been demanding the removal of taxes on LPG, are ready to partner government to keep money in the pocket of the consumers by reducing the price at the pump to reflect the low crude oil price on the international market in these difficult times. It went on to say we shall continue to remain very civil and matured in our discourse, devoid of personal attacks, in our quest to find a lasting solution in this important issue which will shape the future of the LPG industry in our country. We therefore call on the regulator, the NPA, to, as a matter of urgency, withdraw the new levy and further engage industry players on the best possible way forward. And this was signed by Malam Bukari Amadou. Meanwhile, policy think tank CARTS Ghana is calling on the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, which is the PURCU, to review electricity tariffs for all classes of electricity consumers to reflect the current cost of generation in the electricity power mix. It says, in light of the falling prices of key inputs in fuel for power generation in the world market, it is fair and reasonable for the PURC to consider immediate review of electricity tariffs to give relief to businesses and consumers. Joining me on the phone lines now for more on that is the Center Coordinator of CARTS Ghana, Apiakusi Adomaku. Thanks so much, sir, for joining me tonight. You've stated several reasons why you're calling on the PURC to reduce tariffs. Kindly give us some of the reasons you've been speaking to us about.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sandra. I think, for a start, we know that about % of Ghana's electricity generation is from thermal sources, which makes use of crude oil or gas. Now, the price for these that has down significantly. If you look at the figures used by PURC arriving at the price during the last review, PURC used $8.7 per metric cubic tons. But now the prices go as 1.7. So from 6.7 to 1. There is enough reduction to warrant a reduction in tariff.
Well said. A lot of Ghanaians, like you said in that statement, indicated that a lot of Ghanaians are having to go through some hardship now, especially with the outbreak of COVID-19. Why do you think it's taking the PURC as a regulator to come out to reduce tariffs? And have you really engaged them with some of the concerns you raised?
Okay, so under current tariff review, PURC automatic review that takes place every quarter. And for this thing, for any tariff review, the power provider, the one that made a request, it could be that if they submit a request, they would rather get a reduction, so they are not submitted. So as a consumer, we feel that we are obliged to be in terms of submitting a proposal to them for an downward review of tariffs.
So today on the world market, crude sold for around $32 per barrel. If you're asking the PURC for some reduction, by what margin should we be looking at?
Well, let me be fair with PURC. I mean, crude is not the only determinant for price build-up. There are other variables that goes to it, like exchange rate.
Right.
So now that our proposal has been made to the PURC will then have right to the power for them to also submit the proposal. And based upon the PURC guidelines, the PURC will come up with what is fair in the light of what is happening.
All right, Mr. Apiakusi Adomaku, thanks so much for your time. We wait to see what the PURC will do in the coming days as far as tariff reduction is concerned. And in other news tonight, World Bank supports Ghana with $1 million to fight the deadly coronavirus. Details plus more in the business news summaries.
Has provided $100 million to Ghana to assist the country in tackling the COVID-19 pandemic. This $100 million will be made available to the government and the people of Ghana as short, medium and long-term support. This financing package includes $35 million in emergency support to help the country provide improved response system. Under this emergency package, the World Bank will support the government of Ghana to help prevent, detect and respond to the COVID-19 pandemic through the Ghana Emergency Preparedness and Response Project. Indigenous oil marketing firm GOIL has announced that as part of measures to support the fight against the spread of COVID-19, its offices will be closed. It however added customers can still carry out transactions such as payments for coupons and top-up or loading of their go-karts at the head office at Adabraka and zonal offices in Accra, behind Japan Motors and in Tema. But the head office and zonal office of GOIL will remain open from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. daily, from Monday to Friday. Chamber of Telecommunications is urging the public to adapt responsible internet usage and avoid the use of online entertainment services during digital traffic rush hours, that is between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. According to the Chamber, this is to allow telecommunication networks meet the most demanding needs of communication applications, professional office teamwork and distance learning, which are crucial to a large number of Ghanaian citizens and businesses and critical to the functioning of the entire economy. Following the continuous spread of the novel coronavirus in parts of Accra, Tema, Kaswa and Kumasi and a partial lockdown, a situation which has called for more use of internet and data services.
There you go. So use your data wisely, and maybe perhaps you have to reduce the funny videos that you watch. Reduce them. That'll be all for business for now. My name is Sandra S. and I'm back after 8 p.m. with more business news.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now time for Showbiz. Becky is here with all the latest.
Hello to you. Hi, Aisha. You look nice.
You too. You look great as
you
always,
so
and
much.
bubbly.
Yeah.
Like Vrella, you would say.
It's Friday. It's Friday. Too bad we can't go out.
Fridays is no longer.
I know.
As it used to be before COVID.
Before COVID, but there's a lot going on this weekend.
But guys, do you have, ladies, do you have my video?
Yes, we
Oh,
do.
yes. Hold on. I'll bring that one later. But let's
I just wanted to be sure.
Oh yeah, we have your video. Let's talk about what's happening this weekend. There's something happening between Killbeat and Richie right now. I don't know where that is, but I know that Shatta Wale is having a concert tomorrow, and
the lockdown concert.
The lockdown concert.
I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to be. Mintio, which audience will be responding?
We'll get to know more about that. But Samini is joining us all the way from Canada, and let's check out how he's doing in Canada.
Yeah. Hi. Well, it's just me and my laptop, and that's how I'm coping. That's how I'm coping with the current situation, you know? I'm just trying to keep myself, make myself useful, and take advantage of the current situation, be it as negative as it could be, you know? So I can't complain, really. I'm currently at home in Canada with my family, you know, and I find myself on a lockdown on this side of things. So until borders are open, I'm here and I'm doing most of my works through the internet, which is what has become the most important tool right now, or the most important asset for anybody to have access to. Yeah, so we're managing. The lockdown is definitely going to ensure, low spread rate, or it's going to eventually help us control the spread and control and contain the already infected people to be able to deal with the situation before it gets out of hand. So as much as it's going to be a very difficult turning point for a lot of people, a very sudden switch for a lot of people's schedules and stuff. I believe we all have to come together as one and make sure we follow suit and just follow the rules, abide by the rules, and make sure we make the work easy for the government and everybody else involved.
Good to hear that he's
Mighty
doing well.
Samini. Big ups to you, Elombini. He made that happen.
In Canada, he's also recorded some cases, and so once he's doing well, that's good. But what about the other S? Stonebwoy.
Stonebwoy. Oh boy, today I told you we're having fun. Like, we're having our own fun here. Stonebwoy is also in the news, Bralaye, and he's been donating something to the Ashaman police station. Stonebwoy, take it away.
Security forces we're here with our small token. Even if it was a bottle of water, we know that prices of things are increasing. Just due to the pandemic, so you just receive it in good heart, and this is one of them to come. And thank you for having us. And when we reach out to you guys at the last minute, you guys actually open arms for us to come do our heart desire. So thank you very much for allowing me.
I say a big thank you to ATM Livingston Foundation.
Congratulations to Stonebwoy.
I mean,
that's a good thing.
It's something that we'll all be looking forward to. So we've seen some of them doing it, Baby Jed, John DeMello and the others. So it's really good to see a lot of them doing those stuff. But I also know about the Shatta Wale concert, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the stage is ready. The stage.
Well, when is that, tomorrow?
It's tomorrow, and the stage is almost ready.
It will be live on Facebook.
Yes. So if you're out there hoping to get a feel of how Shatta Wale's show will be like, that's it. Like, he's got a whole stage for himself. I don't know. I really don't know. Stage. I'm hoping that we will have crowds there.
Which crowd are you talking about, Becky?
I don't know. Virtual ones.
Okay, virtual crowd.
Then you see Shatta Wale coming and say SM for life. You know the usual things.
I've seen a lot of pastors do that. They preach as if they're preaching to some people.
Musidei.
Shatta Kandori.
Musidei.
SM for life.
Musidei. Mintio. Bralaye Musidei. Oh, Mintio. Hello, Mintio. Yeah, so we're looking
okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
What Temenka?
Me too, Kapa. Me too.
So I'm sure a lot of people will be looking forward to that Shatta concert.
A lot of people. But do you know that, Aisha, we haven't heard from the gospel fraternity
since this whole lockdown and COVID-19.
Yeah, I have a few of them who have been sharing some words of encouragement to all Ghanaians.
People of God, my name is Emoji. I know some of you are afraid, some of you are worried with what is happening all around the world. But I came with a message from you from the Lord, which says, the Lord has not given us the spirit of fear, but that of sound mind. And wherever you are watching me, I prophesy that you receive sound mind. May the Lord give you peace, you and your household, and everyone around you. And at the end, all of us will sing, may the name of the Lord be lifted high for the peace and the joy He has given us in these difficult times. God bless you. Please stay home, obey all the instructions, wash your hands, keep the social distancing going on, and I believe that everything is going to be okay. God bless you, you and your family, and I'm sure I'll meet you again at the top. God bless you.
Lovely people, my name is Empress Gifty. I just want to encourage you that this one too shall pass. You will not die, but you will live and declare the works of the Lord. You will be the head, but not the tail. This virus, this coronavirus will pass.
In Jesus' name.
Words of encouragement there. Good to hear from them. Bralaye has been doing some press-ups.
I know, right? I can't wait. I can't wait to see
You know, he threw the challenge when you played Ochame Kwame's press, and he's like, come on, I can do better than this. Let's check it out.
Before you get to
my morning, each morning I wake up, the first thing I do is to drink some warm water, and I do that just before I start my exercises. So I'm going to take you through my routine for the morning. This was supposed to be like a challenge, but where I was going to do some push-ups, but I decided that why don't I rather take you through my entire routine for the morning. So let's start with drinking some water. You're invited. Okay, so let's go. Just jogging around the house. Okay, so after the last around the house, I'm now coming to do push-ups. So I do 50 for the first rep. I'll do a second rep, but I do other things before I come to that. So here is the next. And so for those of you who are able to go to the gym, well, I never go to the gym, this is my gym. Especially at a time like this, where we're having to deal with a pandemic, which requires us to stay away from each other and stay from public places. And being in a lockdown, these are some exercises you can do to stay trim and fit. There is a production by the Liars.
All right, so let me just give the end credits. It was Samantha, my daughter, who was the videographer. And then Shane Lai, the music, the soundtrack was created. It was originally created, and it's done by Shane Lai, who's my 15-year-old son. And then my other son, he was a caterer. And then my wife was the executive producer. So there you have it. The Liars putting together this production.
Anytime, Aisha.
And that will be it for those of you watching on Joy Prime, the news.
Now, residents of the Amansia Western South District in the Ashanti region are defying social distancing protocols. Traders, especially at Mason Kwanta and Adubia, gather in large numbers to transact business, ignoring threats from the pandemic. Public transportation or commercial public transportation, or TROTRO, they load passengers to full capacity despite the directive to reduce the numbers. Nana Asenso-Mensah has more in this report.
Apart from staff at the assemblies who are observing strict social distancing and hand-washing protocols, many people seem to live in their own world. District Chief Executive for Amansia South, William Bidiakwansante, says it will take a while for people to adhere to the prevention protocols. Together with his colleague of Amansia West, Neil Ate Olenu, he says a joint public education campaign is ongoing.
But in our setting, it will take some time. And we are carrying out very vigorous education. But with these items and others that are on its way coming, we are going to do more rigorous community education. And I'm sure people will begin to understand why they should do the social distancing and the other measures government have announced. So if for now you pass through town and you see that people are not observing it strictly, we are going to carry it to them. Now that we are getting some level of items, we are sending some to the markets and some other places. We will place some of the Veronica buckets at some vantage points, and that will send a signal to the community that everybody must wash their hands, must use the sanitizers.
Meanwhile, the two assemblies have sought assistance from mining firm Asanko Mines for sanitation and education materials. The company has presented Veronica buckets, hand sanitizers, medicated soaps, and protective gear worth 20,000 cedis to each of them. Executive General Manager Charles Amoah says some company medical staff will be deployed to assist the assemblies in the COVID-19 fight.
As a company, since one of our pillars in delivering CSR also revolves around health, we found it good as a company to come and assist the district in fighting this virus. We have come to the knowledge that there are various educational programs that is going on, like washing of hands and what have you. We as a company have decided today to deliver various items which will help with this education and fighting this pandemic that has come. As a company, we have various protocols that we currently use to guide us in also fighting this pandemic. One of which is collaborating with the health facilities in the district by way of education and assistance. And in addition to what we have delivered, we've also added a small amount of money, which will help the district in also propagating its educational programs to the various institutions.
Elsewhere, the Techiman Divisional Police Command has arrested 18 persons for defying government's directive on mass gatherings. The arrests were conducted by the police patrol team at various drinking spots found operating late into the night. All 18 suspects, including 6 females, are currently in custody and will soon be arraigned. Anas Sabit has more in the following report.
Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, a directive from the presidency has it that there shouldn't be a gathering beyond 25 people. Here in Techiman, a couple of beer bars and restaurants have been operating, especially deep into the night, with a lot of people gathering within these settings, and that is a health hazard to the people around here, and possibly could be as a result of the spread of this particular pandemic. As a result of this, the Techiman Divisional Police Command embarked on a patrol tonight to arrest people who have disobeyed. Divisional Police Commander Chief Superintendent Ohinibodi Bosman has been speaking to Joy News.
We taking the trouble to sensitize and educate the public very well on the directives of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. For this reason, we've gone to all churches, all mosques, all social gathering places, restaurants, bars, hotels. We've advised them, drinking sports. We've advised them against gathering, because it's a directive from His Excellency the President, and also it's a health hazard. Coronavirus is a very dangerous disease which is killing the whole world, and we need to fight it in the way we have to fight it to get out. So what we did was that we thought it was wise decision for us to educate and sensitize the people so that they understand the seriousness of the disease. But some of them will not listen. Yesterday, I personally went around with the police officers to all these restaurants, hotels, drinking spots to advise them to desist from gathering. They promised that they would do that. Today we went and the same place they were gathering again. So we decided to arrest them so that the law will take its course.
Advise the general public so far as social gathering is concerned. I know some mosques, some churches, some funerals are still going on. What are your advice for these people?
This is not a good time for us to go and have weekend rendezvous and all that. Everybody should abstain, spacing, washing your hands, ensuring that there's no gathering. That is what we are doing. We are going to ensure that we do this till people obey the law.
He tells me this should serve as a warning to the general public to desist from gathering, either on social basis, religious, or any form of gathering. So whoever finds himself in this bracket will be made to face the full rigors of the law.
Yeah, we are going to prepare them for court so that if they have to break the laws of Ghana, then they have to face the law court. So we're going to court with them tomorrow.
From the Divisional Police Command here in Techiman, I am Anas Sabit for Joy News.
A fake lawyer who showed up in a Techiman court has been sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. Idrisu Yaya was sentenced after pleading guilty to one of 2 charges leveled against him. The 34-year-old was standing trial on 2 counts: deceit of the court by impersonation and defrauding by false returns. He will reappear before the courts on May 27 to face the second charge, which is a second-degree felony, and could face up to 25 years imprisonment if found guilty. There's more in the following report.
Of February this year, 34-year-old Idrisu Yaya was arrested by the Techiman Divisional Police Command during a court sitting at the Techiman Circuit Court. he was accused of deceit of court by personation and defrauding by false pretense. Idris Yahya appeared before the court a number of times pleading not guilty until yesterday when he pleaded guilty to the first count, which is deceit of court by false pretense. This particular issue would have a maximum of 3 years of imprisonment, but the court, presided over by His Lordship, Justice Alexander Graham, sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment to serve as deterrent to others. However, the second count, which is defrauding by false pretense, which was leveled against him by the 3 accused armed robbers who are standing trial, has been adjourned to the 27th of May 2020. The prosecuting officer, Detective Inspector Famous Agbaza, has been speaking to journalists on this particular sentence.
So yesterday, the accused person decided to change his plea from not guilty to guilty. So sentence was deferred yesterday to today. And considering that charge is misdemeanor, so the high sentence that the court can give him is maximum of 3 years. So his counsel also pleaded for leniency, cited so many mitigating factors. So the judge, in his wisdom, deemed it fit to give him 2 years, which to me as a prosecutor, I believe is commensurate.
His defense lawyer, Opoku Ajman, has been speaking to Joy News on the sentence leveled against his client.
We came and the court convicted him and sentenced him to 2 years imprisonment to serve as a deterrent. In fact, in my plea of mitigation, I drew the court's attention to the fact that our prisons have been congested and that following the coronavirus and the fear that the congestion in the prisons may harm, inmates. Appeals were made to the President of the Republic, who only last week granted amnesty to 808 Ghanaians who are first offenders. You see, that they should be released from prison to decongest the prisons. So I drew my law's attention to this fact that the accused is a first offender and the offense is a misdemeanor, which is the least of all the offenses one could, commit. So he should consider other penalties and so on and so forth. But in my law's opinion, to serve as a deterrent for other pretenders, he had to give that 2-year custodial sentence.
Idris Yahya will be brought back to the Techiman Circuit Court on the 27th of May to face the second charge, which is defrauding by false pretense, which falls under a second-degree felony. And when found guilty, he could face a maximum of 25 years imprisonment. From the Techiman Circuit Court here in the Bono East region, I am Anas Sabit.
The Asokore Mampong Municipal Assembly is training over 100 women to produce hand sanitizers for distribution to the vulnerable and other residents in the municipality. Officials explain this is because slum dwellers especially are unable to afford the commodity, which is critical in the fight against COVID-19. Municipal Chief Executive Alidu Seidu tells journalists the women will be supported to begin mass production and also train others. Inshura FM's Ohiming Terrier reports.
Asokore Mampong is one of the densely populated areas of the locked-down Greater Kumasi, with over 500,000 population. Majority of residents, including head porters, live below the poverty line on less than $1 a day amid sanitation challenges. The women under training are selected from all the electoral areas of the municipality. Alhaji Alidu Seidu is the municipal chief executive.
This municipality is highly populated municipality. It's an urban municipality, but we have people living in slum areas and all that cannot afford sanitizers and all of these things. So the assembly and myself thought it wise that we should come up with something of this nature train the trainees, where they will also go down there and train those who will produce more of the hand sanitizers. The intention is that we want to make sure that we get them trained, produce more for the benefit of our people. That is the essence.
There are, however, concerns about how quality will be ensured, especially when majority of the trainees are illiterate. Alhaji Seidu says there's no cause for alarm.
We rely on a professional. The resource person that is leading the training is just not a mere person from anywhere. She's been in this system, with this business for quite a long time. She's been producing more. She's been training how to put them together and even selling most of the items. So it's like having the final the producer to come and teach. It's like everything will be absolute. On the basis of that, quality assurance will be having upheld.
From Asokore Mampon for Joy News, Ohime Teria reporting.
Our necessity is the mother of invention. This is apt in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic as young and old find ways to address price hikes in personal protective equipment. For rural dwellers, such materials can be a luxury. Thankfully, a 13-year-old junior high student at Ejura in the Ashanti region is providing relief using African materials to produce nose mask. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has more in this report.
And one Friday morning, that was last week, I woke up early in the morning and I bathed and I came to my uncle's room. I saw him watching how to make a face mask on YouTube. So he then called me and said, can I do it? And I said yes. So he went and bought the material and the elastic for me.
That was how the idea came to bear. Hamisu is a student of Ejura Model Junior High School. Besides schooling, he has learned how to sew.
Firstly, I'll measure 7.5 meters long. Then I'll measure 6.5 breadth. So when I finish, then I'll turn the material on the one side on another side, then I'll sew over the length. When I finish, I'll turn over it. So then I'll put the elastic inside and then sew it.
Hamisu takes at least 15 minutes to design one nose mark. He makes over 20 in a day.
Please, I study whenever the master seamstress tailor is doing something. I study what he's doing.
Hamisu's uncle supplies him with materials.
The name of my uncle is Abubakar Sadiq Ahmed. He supports me whenever I'm in need of something. Every time I want something, he does it for me. So every time I stay with him, and then we share ideas together.
One of the difficult things that we sought to get was the nose mask. And then I came home and saw a YouTube video which has a white lady who was making nose mask out of braziers. So quickly I showed it to my cousin, who is a 13-year-old boy. And then he said, "Uncle, I can do this." So, wow, really? So I just brought a new brazier which was donated to my NGO by Janet in the UK. And he quickly made some for us. Then I saw that this guy can do more when given the opportunity. So we got him another opportunity to watch a video on YouTube again, using some other products that can be used to make nose mask. He brought out that of the material, and I said, okay, fine, that one too, I'm going to support this. And I got to sort to get the kente cloth that represent the Ghanaian identity. Quickly, he was able to get these things for us. And the next day when we were going on our COVID-19 campaign, we had it on and then we got it up. And now it is really, really helping, because nose mask has become so expensive and we cannot afford to buy. But I believe with this, temporarily, it is doing the magic. And we are calling on all individuals to support our campaign.
For me, actually, I don't know. That's the reason I need to know him with the chemical.
That is what I am to actually, get him to brief me in now regarding the chemical. But when you know, it's very, very okay with the breath you take in and all those things. But I'm here to assess the chemicals to see how protective. But when you use it, it is just excellent.
Hamisu dreams of becoming a scientist in future, a reason he makes the local nose masks for COVID-19 campaign team to make their work safer and easier. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
And Sanitation Minister Cecilia Abnadapa has vowed to prosecute persons who indiscriminately litter the environment. According to the minister, the offense of littering is ignorantly overlooked by the guardians of the law, but however insists her ministry will now begin to prosecute sanitation offenders. She spoke to Joy News' Kwesi Paka-Wilson at the start of a 3-day clean exercise in Accra and Kumasi.
Over 250 security officers drawn from the Ghana Armed Forces and the Navy, plus an army of Zoom Lion staff were deployed to carry out a 3-day massive cleanup exercise in Accra and Kumasi. The exercise, which began on Friday and ends on Sunday evening, seeks to ensure effective cleansing and cleaning, plus making the environment hygienic for all Ghanaians in support of the fight against the coronavirus. The security forces were provided with logistics like brooms, shovels, rake, among other things, to desilt choke gutters, sweep the streets, and disinfect to ensure a clean country. The minister, Cecilia Abnadapa, in an interview with Joy News, asked the citizenry to clean their households and dump refuse in garbage bins for the appropriate waste management companies to handle them. She however vowed to crack the whip on persons who indiscriminately litter the environment.
The bylaws are there, all the assemblies. Of course, when I see you littering, I'll deal with you as a Ghanaian. Nobody has slept on the job. It's our duty as Ghanaians to make sure we do not litter. We cannot, nobody can police 24/7. It behoves us to make sure we do the best for our nation.
The Accra Mayor, Muhammad Ajesiwa, on the spot, assured of the sustenance of this initiative. The mayor, however, said in spite of the challenge faced by the assembly with landfill sites, measures are being put in place to ensure waste generated are properly disposed.
We've designed a strategy. Either to all of us have been going to Pong, and Pong is the most convenient location for all of us, even from Accra. But what we've done is that because the Pong landfill site is almost full, we've restricted waste to that landfill site to only Tema, Ashiaman, and Pong. And all of us from Accra have been directed to go to Adepa and Insumia in the eastern region.
We're live on Joy News Prime. Remember, we're on DTT because we're free to air. There is more in business after this break.
Welcome back to the second part of business. My name is Sandra Isenamap, and businesses the world over are struggling due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Africa's biggest paid TV platform, DSTV, is no exception. With sporting activities suspended, the company, whose survival largely depends on viewership of sports tournaments, is definitely affected. I visited MultiChoice Ghana to find out the fate of the company.
Why? Because of the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of businesses are crawling now. And for people who love the games, sports has been badly affected by the outbreak of the COVID-19. And I had MultiChoice Ghana to find out how they're impacted by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, and also what measures they are putting in place to ensure the safety of both their staff and customers alike. Please come along, let's find out. How have you been impacted by the outbreak of the coronavirus?
It's been quite a blow. The world is fighting hard to limit the spread. Losing so much sports in a short space of time has been quite a blow to us. But the good thing is there's a lot more on your DSTV and GoTV offering than the sports. And we have a very good portfolio of news. So what we've done is we've dropped our news channel. So CNN, Euronews, Africa News is now available on our lowest packages for as low as 40 cedis. And for 40 cedis a month on GoTV, you can can't get the best news on our GoTV and DSTV platforms. So if you remember, about a month ago, we announced that there was going to be a price change. We've suspended the price change. It's not taking effect again on the 1st of April, like we had earlier announced, so that we make sure that our customers get a lot more liquidity in their hands to be able to meet other requirements in their lives. The children are getting a few new channels as well, so that we make sure that once people are at home a lot more than usual, they have a lot more entertainment, education, and wealth news at their disposal.
Hitherto, people who want to pay and watch their football on weekends is no longer there, so the urge to pay your DSTV bills is not as much as before.
What happened when most of the major leagues, the Premiership, the La Liga, Serie A, F1, and a few other major sporting events, initially we saw a slight dip in subscriptions, but in the last couple of days, because of the lockdowns around the world, we are seeing customers also coming back because they want to know what is happening in the world, what the latest trends are with respect to how to protect themselves.
Of course, that's good news because a lot of people are watching TV now, the kids are home. But again, people who have businesses that are being suspended, people who are being laid off, we don't have cash flowing in. Is that going to impact the way the world is doing business? And most importantly, your business, where people will start pulling because they can no longer pay for your services?
We believe that if this condition continues for quite some time, definitely customers will now start having to make economic questions, and that is why we're not changing our pricing anymore. We've suspended it. What for us, we have invested in these leagues already, so some of them have been paid forward, and when the leagues bounce back, we will have access to it. But we're just hoping that this condition is quickly nipped in the bud. Some of the countries we operate, for example, in South Africa, non-essential staff have been asked to work from home. We are monitoring the situation here, and if the need arises, we've already put in place a program where we'll have non-essential staff working from home, and we just tested our systems to be sure that we'll be able to support our customers even if it comes to a case of a lockdown. For example, in this building, we've dedicated an area as an isolation point. We've gotten training from local and international sources on how to instantly contain should we find any cases here, and what should we do immediately. Yesterday we had some training for some staff on what to do. We've procured all the necessary material that we need to make sure our staff and customers are safe. So as much as we know, we're just monitoring the situation, and if it gets worse, we might have to have some of our staff work from home.
But you having to deal with customers, because I still see people coming in here. Coming in, I saw that my temperature was taken anyway, but what other measures are you putting in place to ensure that we contain the spread of the virus?
So, for example, back at our home base in South Africa, they've had a lot more incidents than we've experienced here, and for that reason, we are taking learnings from all the 50 countries we operate in, and we are applying that in here. So, for example, we've given all our front customer-facing staff nose masks and gloves. We've given them adequate training. We've also we're getting them to work at a distance from our customers. We are also asking customers to use our mobile money and online payment options. We've also created a platform where customers can send an SMS to 1731 and whatever your request is. So, for example, if you live in Kaswa and you want an installation or you want a new decoder, you send installation and your number and your location. Somebody will call you and tell you, okay, there is a dealer in this neighborhood, and that person will pass that information to the person. The person will come in and do the installation for you. So we've tried as much as possible to limit interaction with customers. The protocols at all our branches across the country have changed. So now we check your temperature before you come in.
For COVID to be over so I can watch my favorite team play over the weekend. To other news now, crude oil is gradually gaining some grounds as the commodity inches up, selling today at over $32 a barrel. More details in a commodity news update.
Will meet on
Monday with Russia and other oil producers in the hope of agreeing supply cuts and ending a brutal price war. The meeting, called by Saudi Arabia, will be held via video conference and will include oil producers from outside the OPEC alliance that includes Russia and a few other countries. The United Nations, the United Kingdoms, Canada, Mexico could be invited, according to reports. The meeting comes after US President Donald Trump suggested that massive production cuts could be on the way, and Saudi Arabia called for an urgent effort to restore balance to the oil market.
That will be all for business for the week with me, Sandra Isenam Apeno. I'm surely back next week with more business news. But do log on to our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Stay safe and stay beautiful. And do remember to stay home if you have nothing doing in town. Thanks so much for watching. Accra and most parts of Kumasi have been quiet this past week, a far cry from the usual hustle and bustle associated with two of Ghana's most cosmopolitan cities. Of course, this is not normal, but we're not in ordinary times. We are at war, and we are facing an enemy we cannot see, a virus which has led thousands to their graves and is still battling hundreds of thousands more. And with no treatment or vaccine available as yet, our only best bet of eluding it is staying at home. Which brings me to the point of the silence on the streets of Accra and Kumasi. A lockdown announced by the president came into effect from Monday as part of attempts by government to contain and monitor the spread of the coronavirus. And many were encouraged to practice social distancing to avoid contracting the disease. Well, largely over the 5-day period, many Ghanaians have adhered to the directive and have stepped up only to get essentials such as groceries or medicine. But as in every society, one can expect some to go left, even when all are directed to go right. I'm talking about the errant citizen.
Bebre mama pake soja for bebre police for na me bambo no omo hia me o baby my barrier no biza me say me be den na me so me beto aduru me sa kwa nkoma mama so na me meto aduru na me di mani ba be hwede.
Well, the sheer bravado by some to violate the stay-home order and then the fury of the security personnel deployed on the streets to maintain order during the lockdown, as happened to this young man who defied the soldiers' orders. But in some cases, some citizens were assaulted by the soldiers simply for going out to look for food to eat.
So omo ka so obi an ko she dem e dey na me na mo ase ana me say edwan na gumu no madi egumoto ni to omo nyina ato agumi so omo di to ni bobo me ene ya yikoboko no na omo de bomi sa.
Well, these actions by the security personnel, although well-intentioned, leave much to be desired. It is inhumane and must be condemned in no uncertain terms. Of course, the prescription of punishment for lawbreakers does not lie in the bosom of the police or military personnel. It is the court. The law is very clear on that. Now, the excesses of these security personnel, particularly the soldiers, cannot be overlooked, and all errant personnel must be reprimanded for such show of brute force. But let's be clear, these actions do not reflect the generality of how all soldiers behave. In fact, just this week, one of the men in uniform who must be singled out for commendation for his professionalism and also for setting an example for his peers is Lieutenant Colonel Michael Kwame Afre Infum, captured in a video which has gone viral, educating passengers in a commercial vehicle why they ought to return home and observe the lockdown.
But it's better than losing your lives.
you understand? It is better than losing your life. Go through the hardships in your house. It is better than you living this world. Your maker out there has a purpose for you. So please stay home. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Make it very easy for everybody. Because we all have our families. We would have been happy staying with our families back home. But we are out here working for God and country. And then for you. So please stay home. Don't make it difficult for us.
This is the way to go. And there may be thousands of Lieutenant Colonel Mfum's kind, but of course, it's the few bad nuts whose actions destroy the image of the service. But what about the errant citizen or the indisciplined few? There are many who argue that we cannot rely on the conscience and morality of citizens to know what to do is right or wrong. But citizens ought to take responsibility and exhibit some discipline, especially if it is in their own interest. Because we cannot continue with the business as usual attitude. The statistics on infections and fatalities from coronavirus has passed the 1 million mark. And governments the world over are relying on this one strategy to flatten the curve.
Stay at home, folks. Protect our NHS. Save lives.
So that's the simple message. Stay home. Unless it's absolutely necessary to step out. It may be the difference between life and death.
Thanks to Araba for bringing us that editorial. Time now, though, for the sport. I'm Gary Al Smith, and thank you for your time. We begin with the Ghana Football Association, whose staff, or one of the long-serving staff of the association, is calling it a day or a night, or is hanging his boots in a figurative sense. Francis Otiakinting is done, and despite the fact that many people thought he left on an amicable note, apparently it looks like Otiakinting is not happy that his contract was not renewed.
For the sake that the directorate is now coming to, is now being recognized, and then experts will be employed for the technical director just to be supervising. That one, I must be a bit disappointed, because I've done so much on my own that now that people are coming in, where your work probably will be much seen by the whole country, or by people, you are now being put aside. That is the only worry that I have, but that notwithstanding, I'm sure I'll be used in one way or the other. I'm sure my contribution can still come in another way or the other. So it is okay. Now that they are coming to make the place very, very attractive, and then you are not there. Somebody might even think that somebody might do a very simple comparison and say, this man is doing better than Otiakinting. But probably if Otiakinting were to have the facilities that are going to be put in place, he would have worked 100 times better. That is the only thing, but it's okay.
Of COVID-19, and the UK's Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, has urged Premier League players to take pay cuts following the coronavirus pandemic. More in this report by Asari Bediako. That's it for the sport. We will come with more with Hans Mensah Ando at 10:30 with the Fan Zone. Many thanks for your time. Tomorrow morning, also join George Ado Jr. with Sports Review. I'm Gary Al Smith. Have a good weekend.
And that'll be it for the bulletin, Aisha Ibrahim. It's been a week of making history, and I'm happy to have shared the spotlight with you.
Definitely, Israelite. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjournline.com for all the updates on news and developing stories. Enjoy your weekend.